Do spring training results matter? Our question today is what happens to the teams with the best record in spring training?
Folks, you're with the Baseball Brewhaha today. It's your spot for obscure daily baseball trivia. I'm Aaron. That's my identical twin brother, Adam. Join us today for a cup of coffee, and we're going to put our baseball knowledge to the test. Sounds like we're going spring training style. We got the regular season right around the corner here. Excitement fills the air. Adam, let's talk about meaningless baseball games.
Well, that was the question here
Yeah.
is that we're trying to figure out, in general, spring training doesn't count, but does it get you prepared for something better, bigger, better, more exciting? So the question is, the teams in both leagues, American League, National League, who finish with the best spring training record, what is the most common outcome for them at the end of the season? This is a two-part question. So the first part is simply, do they make the playoffs? Do they not make the playoffs? What do you think is the most common outcome?
Okay. Yeah. So, um, I tried to look at this year's just as sort of an anecdote, um, and it's a little tough to tell. So, as viewers, as you probably know, so first of all, enter your answer below, and see if you can get it here. But as you know, it's split. The spring training is split into two leagues, and it's not American National. It's Grapefruit League and Cactus League. So Grapefruit League's in Florida and Cactus League is in Arizona. So Grapefruit League seemed to have at the top of the standings some playoff teams: Cardinals, Braves, Astros, right at the top. The the Cactus League seemed to have kind of a hodgepodge. You have Royals, Angels, Mariners, Dodgers. You had kind of a hodge, and the Mets in the Grapefruit League were right near the bottom. So it's hard to know here. So I'm going to guess. I mean, 1 year is not going to be indicative, but I'm going to guess the one who won it. I'm going to say more often than not make the playoffs.
Okay. And I went with more often than not miss the playoffs.
Okay.
Um, and part of that is, so our timeline here for this question is since 2000.
Okay.
And, very recently, within the past few years, the playoff field has expanded.
Hmm.
But going back even like 2000 to 2015, there were fewer playoff slots
Hmm.
available. So
Hmm.
just getting to the playoffs is difficult. And, you know, it just like in my mind, spring training doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
the like the guys who are in there at the end of the game are like single A and double A players,
Yeah.
and they're
Totally.
determining the outcome of the game. So like we're definitely not looking at a full game from the best team. It's just getting guys out there to practice. So I went with missed the playoffs.
Okay. All right. So we've got ourselves a little brouhaha. We're going head to head, mano
Head
y
to head.
mano.
Head to head. Okay. Our answer is we're checking the book. So the answer is the miss the playoffs.
Miss the playoffs. Okay.
Miss and not just a little.
So,
63% of the time they miss the playoffs.
yeah. So,
So
yeah.
almost two-thirds of the time the team, it's almost better to not have the best record.
Yeah.
Don't want to peak in spring training.
Yeah, like the Royals and Angels in spring training this year. Yeah, when you were thinking about when you were talking about this question, it's not a baseball reference, but the first thing that came to mind was Allen Iverson.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
like, practice, not a game.
Not the
Practice.
game.
So I mean these but spring training as baseball fans, you probably know this, but a a lot of times too, like, you see your star pitcher out there and like he gets hammered for like 6 runs or whatever, and everybody's panicking and oh no, whatever it's going to be. And most of the time these guys are like working on they throw like 12 sliders in a row because they want to get a feel for their slider or
Yeah.
whatever it is. So it's not like they're in most cases, yeah, I mean they're trying to throw a good pitch, but they're not actually game planning and trying to get a guy out. So that's why a lot of times spring training doesn't correlate, even though maybe we think it should mean something more than it does. It's really glorified practice. It's a scrimmage,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the players are competitive. They want to win the game, but at the end of the day, it's a scrimmage. It's an opportunity for them to work on things and get ready for the season. So
Yeah. So here's we got part two of the question here. So those teams who do make it to the playoffs,
okay,
they
27, what 37%?
the 37% who've
Mhm.
sustained their success over spring training and the regular season. How far? What's the most common outcome for the playoffs? So do they make it? Do they lose in the wild card round? Do they lose in the division series and lose in the championship series, or do they make it to the World Series and perhaps even win the World Series? What do you think is what's the most
Um,
common outcome?
I'm gonna go division series.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have a real justification based on 37%. I have no idea who those teams are. I mean, thinking about like the Cardinals and Braves and Astros being at the top of that list this year, you know, uh, division series feels no, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna say division series feels appropriately average.
Yeah, yeah, I'm going division series too. Not doing wild card because the number of wild card teams has been so small for most
Yeah,
of this time period that we're looking at,
right.
and and then just getting to the ALCS, NLCS is difficult. Getting to the World Series is even more difficult. So
Yeah,
I
right.
went division series as well on this one. So let's take a look. What do we got? Oh, all right. We were correct,
Yes, here we go.
but also championship series would have been correct. So the
Oh,
equivalent
tied.
number of teams made it to the division series or the championship series. So overall, 13% of teams with the best record in spring training made it to each the division series and the championship series. 8% of teams made it to the World Series,
Mhm.
and half of those, 4%, won the World Series. The only teams to win the World Series, you ask?
Yes, I do ask. I'm itching.
The 2010 Giants and the 2018 Red Sox.
Okay, here we
Winners
go.
from start to the end.
So here's if you're betting, do not bet on the Cardinals or the Royals. Definitely not the Royals. I mean, they're up and coming, but I don't think they're on their playoff team yet. So,
Yeah.
well, folks, that's going to do it for us today. We're talking meaningless baseball. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy your cup of coffee. We'll be back at it tomorrow. We'll see you then.